All right, Dylan. So the plan here is to come out of that trash compactor room where the panel is located. It's on level 1. And you might see conduit going around that beam next to the door. We would follow that all the way to that back beam next to that Jeep. We go around that one, just like that conduit is, and then we would mount the unit, dual head unit, on the wall directly between the Jeep and that gray Ford over there. So you got a bit of concrete or conduit run. I'll measure. Okay, so here's our 2 panels that we've been looking at, and what this is an old, it appears to be a non-functional trash chute compactor room, possibly. There is a timer on the bottom of this box, and there's a timer over here as well. Okay, so this box is 18 by 18. You have 16 MCs coming in on the top. Still have a lot of MC coming in from these boxes down to the top as well. I'm not sure why this is so corroded. It's the old trash room, a lot of moisture. Look, I think the time clock is still being used. I'm not sure what this timer controls, and if it's necessary to stay. Same with this. Power supply remover control for the old compactor that was in there once. We might be able to remove that for them while we're at it. As far as the panel goes, we've got 3 spaces here and 2 here. Plenty of room to add that 40 amp breaker. This is a square D panel, and I'm just going to run down the items that are on this panel. There's the old compactor breaker right there on the bottom left. My thoughts were, if that's not going to be reinstalled or used, then we could probably use that. So there you go. Yeah, I don't know why the top of this panel is just, it's horrible. It's really bad. Corroded out. Okay, so we're gonna, essentially what we would do is come up here. These walls are clad in steel, so we'd have to drill through that up here, punch out, go up, turn in next to that conduit right there, and follow it around underneath it. Once we hit that corner, we're gonna do a little offset so that we can bypass that 90 right there to the fire alarm control box, and jump back in. We come all the way along the seam up here, and then down here underneath, where we would again We might disconnect this and move it all out a little bit so we can come in on the back side of it and then down in between these spots that are situated between this column. There's two spots. It would go right here in the middle on this stripe. Okay, between 108 and 106 reserved parking spaces. The nice thing about this location is if handicapped rights come into play, you could actually put a charger right here, say on this column, and service handicap and non-handicap. If you were gonna move all of this over slightly to the left to try to accommodate a fitting right here to go from one to the other, because you've only got 1.25 inches on that side and 1.25 inches on this side, 2.5 inches. If you were to slam this over to the wall, 2.5 inch space to get all of this stuff right here and all of this stuff right here going through to the panel. 2.25 inches, that's pretty tight. I don't know if there's some sort of 180-degree option to come out of the bottom and just zip back up, kind of like what they've done there. With liquid tight would probably be much better doing something like that. The lights in here are not operable. May be able to get away with just a couple of lamps on this one. All right, end of tape.